What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Radar for Wrestling channel for our Double or Nothing predictions. Double or Nothing 2021 from AEW. Got my boys Mex here from WrestleManiac UK. You already know who he is. He's been on the channel a million times. How's it going, Mex?
I'm good, bro. Happy to be here. Gonna talk all things Double or Nothing. It's gonna be a good weekend.
You're running triple duty, right? Because I know you did Steve's SCW yesterday, and then you did your own today, right?
Yeah, and I've watched it back, and I've seen my predictions have changed twice already on both shows. So we're going for the hat trick today. It's gonna change again. I know it.
There it goes. Let's see how. Well, let me know during the thing, like what you picked before, and then what you're picking now, so you know if how much your mind has changed. Then you got my main man Dan from DWE, the most positive man I've seen when it comes to the YouTube wrestling community. What's going on there? How you doing?
Because I'm representing the UK, me and Anthony Ogogo can bring the UK over, dominate American wrestling.
There we go. We're gonna see big Anthony Ogogo match. Let me get your thoughts real quick on Ogogo's first match that we saw on Dynamite this past week, right? Now, remember, he has the whole gut punch gimmick, and that's the whole thing. He's obviously an Olympian boxer and a medalist in that, and in that aspect as well. So, Max, to start with you, how do you think of him like working these matches that are just longer, especially with the fact that he can't really punch anybody during matches because it kind of takes away from the actual gut punch and the fact that he's a legitimate boxer?
It's going to be very interesting. Obviously, he is Cody's student, so I'm expecting Cody to, carry him somewhat within this match and, tell the story really well. One thing that I have seen today is that he's actually injured. And I don't know if they put this out as a, to tell the story that this is someone injured fighting Cody, but they said he's got a rib injury. He's actually got cracked ribs, and he's still wrestling the match. So I think they've got to be careful of that if that's the case. But overall, I think that he can probably wrestle a decent, 10-minute match with Cody's guidance. They've been training together, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does make sense. And like kayfabe be damn, gone out the window. He trains them, so we all know what the story is with that. And you know that they have this match probably played out like 1,000 times already, or however many times in the Nightmare Factory going to work on it. But Dan, let me get your thoughts. Big Anthony Ogogo guy, obviously. How do you think he's going to perform in a match that's going to be long or longer than his match on Dynamite with Cody?
Right, he's definitely going to cope with long matches. He's an Olympian boxer, and like if you get to that level, you are no joke. You are a true athlete. He can go the distance. He's probably trained to do long boxing rounds, and he's unique. That gut punch. Whenever you seen a finisher, that's a punch to the gut. It just sounds so underwhelming when compared to these big moves we got now with triple front flip pile drivers and all this. He just got a gut punch, and it's so much more effective as well. He's very unique. I think he'll hold his own in there.
Yeah, and it's extremely believable, right? Because he has the background. Yes. So it's like if you had an MMA fighter and he's putting a submission hold, it's believable as hell because the man is from that profession and he's a professional. And, Ogogo has gone to the absolute, like pretty much the highest you can get when it comes to an athlete is being an Olympian and actually receiving a medal for your, athletic talents in the Olympics. So it's tremendous stuff. But overall, how have you felt about, I'll start with you, Dan. How have you felt about AEW's product over the build from the last pay-per-view to this one and, everything in between?
Well, I think it's gone better. I think the Blood and Guts filled the gap nicely between the pay-per-views because it's like AEW, there is a bit of a long distance through pay-per-views. Yes. So I think sometimes they do get a bit stale because of the long distance. But I think they've gone better. They're just going to get better with time in AEW. And they've already got a new big TV deal. They're just getting stronger and stronger. It seems like they're getting more people in. Bigger names, they're attracting more new people as well. I've seen it's just all going good at the moment for them. I've really enjoyed the product lately as well.
Well, you already know, everybody already knows my opinion on AEW, especially for the past 6 months. I've made a video, the problem with AEW video. If you haven't, check that one out because I give my opinion. A little salty. Some people a little upset by it. It is what it is, right? We all have our own opinions, all super subjective. But Mex, yourself, how have you felt about AEW and the way they've built up in between the long, time between the last pay-per-view Revolution and now Double or Nothing?
Yeah, like Dan said, it's just a good stopgap that we had Blood and Guts. A little quibble for myself. We're going to get obviously a Stadium Stampede match. I felt like that should have came before the Blood and Guts match, because Blood and Guts is, I hate you, I want to rip you to shreds. Mm-hmm. Like that should have been the end of the feud. But they have been fantastic in what they're doing. They are picking up steam. They are gonna go back touring as well very soon. So we're really going to see, we saw a glimpse of it before the pandemic, but we're really going to see in the next couple of months what AEW is really about between now and the end of the year. I think it's going to be incredible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to everything they do and have been enjoying the show a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do in the future as well when they start going back to touring, that all that stuff. Now, yeah, I totally agree with you that Blood and Guts should have came after Stadium Stampede, because the seriousness of Blood and Guts compared to the seriousness of Stadium Stampede, it's going to be jokey. It's going to be kind of some hokey spots here and there and all that. But they should have flipped the switch on that, especially you're coming off the big bump, the Jericho bump on the big crash pad. Obviously, we know he's not going to go through concrete. We all people are saying what do you want him to go through concrete? I'm like, no, nobody's saying that. It's obviously the fact that the production value of it made it look worse because of how they didn't properly stage it so that you can put camera cuts and stuff like that, make it look more believable and suspend your disbelief just a little bit. But yeah, that should have came first. It made way more sense for it to come first like that. Give me a second, because all right, so yeah, let's get into it. So this Sunday, I'm not a huge fan of AEW's pay-per-views being on Sundays instead of Saturdays. I like the Saturday feel, right? Like, I like it. What do you guys think?
Why did they change it? Because they were initially all on Saturdays and now it's on Sunday, and I'm like, this is my one issue of WWE. Now they've come to adopt the issue as well. Like, let me rephrase that. This isn't my one issue. WWE.
There's loads of them. Yeah. What about you, Dan? What do you think about? Were you a bigger fan of the Saturday or the Sunday pay-per-views?
Oh, Saturday is so much better. I think that every sport is on a Saturday mainly, apart from like WWE. I feel like Saturday, it's like Saturday is a part. It's like so you have a party feel on a Saturday. You're like a very upbeat day in general. It's a very exciting day. Most people go out, party, do whatever gatherings on a Saturday, and all big boxing pay-per-views are Saturday. And I like Sunday, I'm just too tired by the time it comes to the end of the week to really get like hyped, unless it's like something big like a WrestleMania, which I understand that being on a Sunday. But other than that, they should really stick to Saturdays. Saturday is perfect.
Yeah, I like how you brought up like boxing and UFC take place on Saturday. Those pay-per-views feel like more of a Saturday type of thing, right? Like a Saturday thing is a pay-per-view, fighting, stuff like that, right? And then Sundays for your sports, your football, American football or soccer, or, football, whatever, and baseball and stuff like that. So it makes total sense. Get to the chat real quick because we have new people here. Morgan Jones, hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. There you go. Simples says DW, I'm your biggest fan. There you go. The love to feel it right there. All right, we got another one. Jake Richardson says hi, DWE.
Hi, lads. Welcome, boys. Come on.
There you go. I'm assuming you guys are all hype for Anthony Ogogo, but we'll start off with this one match versus the Casino Battle Royal, right? What do you guys' thoughts on the Casino Battle Royal, the concept, and who do you think, if any, will be a surprise, kind of the Joker, right? It comes out because they love doing this AEW. They love having these multi-man battle royal ladder matches, and they have this guy that comes out, a big name. Last one was Ethan Page. Before that was Brian Cage. And who are we gonna get this time? Me, I think it's gonna be an Impact guy, but I'll start with Mex first. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be an Impact guy the more I think about it. Impact, their relationship with AEW has been stifled on TNT, but this is on pay-per-view. There's no TNT involvement here per se. So I definitely think this is an opportunity. And since I'm going to go with Impact, I'm going to go with Rich Swann. I've been saying this since, Steve said this at SCW. Fantastic shout, and I'm just going to copy him. Rich Swann, this will be a fantastic time for him to come in. Someone that obviously lost the Impact Championship. He comes in, he can win that thing and then challenge Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Other than that, obviously, there's a few other names which I'm sure we could discuss, but yeah. Someone from Impact, definitely, and I'll go with Rich Swann.
Yeah, I think Rich Swann is the most disrespected person out of the entire partnership, right? He didn't get anything, nothing. Like, he was the champion going into that Rebellion match, and he wouldn't show up on AEW television, was not advertised on AEW television, didn't have a highlight reel package after he lost the match. Kenny's out there. I mean, I've been to this whole thing a million times in other videos and stuff like that, but let me kick it over to Dan. Dan, what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to be the Joker that comes out and here, the surprise entrant?
Well, they could take it in so many different directions because Kenny's got a match with Almas in Mexico. He could do that to build to that, get eyes on that. You've got obviously Rich Swann, who needs revenge after being pretty much raided in his own home, practically. That they could do loads of things. It could even be Big Show. Like, it could be a swerve. And I'm leaning towards Big Show. I think this might be a swerve. And I like AEW. They're starting to use the legends more. They're starting to test the waters. And I think maybe Big Show's a swerve on commentary. Then he might come out as the Joker. And it'd be a massive pop. It'd be brilliant to see him back in the ring.
I actually think that'll get a lot of heat, though, right? Like, that'll get a lot of heat if it's Big Show the guy to do it, right?
That'd be funny, though. I'd love to see him back.
All right, but who do you think is going to win? Sorry with you, Dan. Who do you think is going to win this match? Will it be the surprise entrant, or will it be Christian Cage, or anybody from Team Taz that's involved in it, or whoever that would be?
If Pent, I'm not too sure. Is Penta in it? I think if Penta's in it, he wins it.
I think he is. I mean, I couldn't get an exact lineup as the entire thing. If anybody in the chat has it, let me know how that goes down. Who's in it? Is Penta in it? But these things are kind of like, it's tough to find information as to who exactly is in this thing. Here we go. West Coast Podcast, no Big Show. Zach, no Big Show. He does not want Big Show in this match. Yeah, I don't know. It'll get a lot of heat. I mean, it'll be interesting for them to pull that off and try to pull it, but it'll be really, really interesting. Okay, so if Penta's in it, you're picking Penta then.
He's so good. He's literally. I didn't know him before AEW, but as soon as he's at AEW, he's got money written all over him. He's got it in the ring. His story's good. He's got a vicious character. He's got a nice baby face character that people get behind. Yeah. He has literally got it all, and he's really taken to me since watching AEW. And him and Phoenix are great, and I'd love to see Penta win, get a bit of a singles push, maybe a title shot in the future.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I think I'm looking at it right now. Penta's in it. Matt Hardy's in it. Brian Pillman Jr., Dustin Rhodes are in it. QT Marshall. I think the Acclaimed is in it as well, or one of the members of Acclaimed is in it. Another guy from the Factory who I always forget his name. He's the big guy. I can't remember his name for some reason.
Camarado.
Camarado. Him right there. Nick Camarado. He's in it. I believe that's one of the Dark Order members in it. The 10, I think it's 10. And Christian Cage, Matt Sydal. So yeah, they have a decent little crew of guys there. I mean, it's not really too much to write home about in terms of the talent that's in the guys that are in their star power and everything like that. So it seems kind of cut and dry that I think Christian Cage wins this. I'm going to pick Christian Cage. What about you, Max?
Yeah, I think Christian Cage is the safe option, and he's already kind of said he wants to go at the AEW World Championship. This is the easy way to get him there. Yeah, if it's not for someone from Impact, like we say, coming in, I'm going with Christian Cage as well.
That makes total sense. I think he's the more obvious pick, right? So they could swerve us and have somebody else win, but if you look at the crew of guys, other than Dan saying Penta or an Impact guy, that's the only other people that I can see winning this matchup. But if whoever wins this, if it's Christian Cage, I think they maybe set up something for one of those in-between events on Dynamite, maybe like a Bash of the Beach type Dynamite, even though they can't use the name. Because I think WWE stole that from them. So they have that. So we'll see what happens going forward and who faces Kenny Omega next. Should be pretty interesting how that goes down in the future. But let's get to this match right here, which I'm not super excited about. But I guess it rhymes. So you have Hangman Page versus Brian Cage, who has the most useless title in the history of pro wrestling, the FTW title, which is kind of pointless as to why it's there, but it is there and he's still carrying it, even though he never defends it. They should put on the line for this. But now, when it comes to Hangman Page, he was number one contender for weeks on out, and he won all his matches he was the opener of Dynamite for consistently, going. Then he loses to Brian Cage. He drops in the rankings overnight, just completely all the way to the bottom of the ranking. So he's out of the title picture completely, and he's taking on Brian Cage here, and he's obviously got issues with Team Taz. I think this is eventually into a 6-man, where maybe they have Cage, Hobbs, if Ricky Starks is healthy, against Page, Christian Cage, and another guy there. I think that's what they're going to end up building for somewhere in between. I think that's what they're going to end up going for. Maybe a Dark Order member joining Cage and Page. There's a lot of rhyming going on here. But I think Hangman Page easily wins this match. I don't see Cage coming out on top. But Max, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, live crowd. This is going to be very early in the card, I suspect.
Yeah.
And, big pops. The crowd are going to love the whole cowboy shit chant. Page is a star. Honestly, I remember the reactions he was getting early AEW days, just on Dynamite. So for a crowd that hasn't seen him for a long time, I think, yeah, he has to win. He's been the victim in the story thus far. Gets his win back against Cage. Not sure that Cage could really afford another kind of high profile loss, to be honest. But yeah, Hangman Page for the win.
Yeah, he can't afford it, but he is getting it though. He is gonna get this loss. I don't think Page is gonna lose this one. Like, I don't think there's any shot he loses it. Again, remember Jacksonville is gonna have full capacity crowd. Daly's place doesn't hold a lot of people, but it's gonna have full crowd, so it's gonna be hot. Dan, kick it over to you. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with Page as well. And like Page, he deserves a big pay-per-view win. Like the matches even have Dynamite, one Ricky Starks. He's been killing it lately, and like it's been really good so far. This long build, which we haven't seen in wrestling in a long time. You've seen the story. It's gone back already to August really with Kenny Omega since they've lost the tag titles, and it's still going now, almost a year on. And like with Brian Cage, he's one of them. He's so big and strong. You can easily build him back up quite quickly. Whereas with Page, you can't. So I think he can afford to take this loss, and Page, you keep on going till he gets back that world title match.
Well, Hangman Page could even go longer, further back than that. Because remember, he was in the match against Jericho to be the first ever AEW championship champion. Loses that, goes into the tag team, is the tag team champion with Kenny for a long time. Then goes to what you were saying, Dan, when they ended up the breakup, and they never really went on further with that, and they kind of just went their own separate ways. So it's really long-term storytelling here when it comes to Hangman Adam Page and where he goes on from here. It will be interesting to see how everything works out going forward. Cage, Brian Cage is a WWE guy. He has the mold for me of a WWE guy. I think he's in the wrong company. I don't think they have any idea how to use him in AEW, to be honest with you. I think he's made, and Vince McMahon if this guy walked through the door in Connecticut, he would walk in Stanford, boom, right through the door, and Vince McMahon would just fall over. You ever seen that gif where he's like, and falls over his chair? That would be Vince right there. That would be Vince. Yeah, when he sees Brian Cage walk through the door, because that's a Vince guy. If I've ever seen one, I mean, that's a Vince guy. So I could definitely see. I think he's in the wrong company. But with that match out of the way, all three of us are picking Adam Hangman Page. Now, Mex, I'm assuming you pick Hangman Page all three times.
Yes, I did. I thought about it earlier. Could Cage actually win here? But no, Hangman Page is my guy, so I gotta back him.
There it is. 0-3 for Brian Cage when it comes to Mex. All right, let's jump to this other match here, and it's one I honestly don't think needs to happen. It's Miro, the new TNT champion, taking on Lance Archer along with Jake the Snake, obviously. So Miro won the TNT championship 2 weeks ago after he destroyed Darby Allin, who got thrown down a flight of stairs the week prior. So sucks to be Darby Allin, but it is what it is. Darby Allin had a little bit of a run with the TNT championship. Looked like he was going to be the new face he's somewhat one of the faces of AEW, and then he gets thrown. I think they just saddled him with Sting, and I think they kind of brought him down a little bit. To be honest with you, the saddling of Sting, put it with Darby Allin, trying to get the rub for Darby off of Sting and be like his mentor, kind of thing like that. I think it's hurt him. It hurt him in terms of where he's placed on the card and his importance now, because he'll have just kind of a random tag team match in the show. But I don't think there's any chance in hell Miro loses his title. I think they gave the belt to Miro a little bit too quickly. I think they should have built it a little bit more, because he just left Kip and now he's winning this title. But I think he's going to have a solid run with it. I hope so anyways. And Lance Archer, again, is going to lose when it comes to this TNT championship. Dan, what about you? What do you think?
I'm very happy for Miro. Like, this is what we've all wanted for a long time. This Miro, this what Rusev should have been, really. And he's obviously gone to win. I know they've done quick title switches before, but this will be a good match. Though. It's just going to be very physical. It's two physical, really talented wrestlers. Both were quite believable as well. And Jake the Snake, he's great to watch on ringside. I find him fascinating because I never saw his career really. So it's great for him to watch. But yeah, it'll be a fun match. Miro surely retaining though.
Yeah, I don't see him losing. Now, will Miro come out with the tank? Will AEW pull out the tank for this event? We don't know, but Mex, what do you think?
Like Dan said, with the physicality of this match, that is what I'm looking forward to. What I'm not looking forward to is Lance Archer taking another high-profile loss. I just don't get it. Very much like the conversation we just had with Brian Cage. It's like, did they know what to do with this guy? Because if you guys remember back to the beginning of the year, Lance Archer was hot. Archer was main event in Dynamites, whether that was in tag matches or singles matches or whatever. He was right up there. Then they had the Revolution cash-in ladder match, whatever, when Sky won the Sonic ring. It's like, why wasn't that Lance Archer then? And since then, he's been cold. And this Miro Lance Archer thing, if you really look back on their interactions on Dynamite, it's been poor in terms of this is just whatever. This match doesn't need to happen, like you said, Anthony, unless Lance Archer is going to win, which is, yeah, why would they do that after 2 weeks to Miro? So I'm going to go with Miro. That's who I've been picking all along. But it's mind-boggling as to why this match even exists. This should maybe be a rematch with Darby Allin or something. Like, I don't know, but Lance Archer should not be losing again. But unfortunately, it looks like he will be.
Yeah, and Lance Archer, like you said, another guy like Brian Cage can't really take another loss because he's taken so many. Like both came into the company so hot. Remember, Archer comes into the company, immediately gets booked with Cody, which I have my own issues with that whole booking and how that whole thing went down. The shoddy camera work, the bad storytelling, and it's just, I mean, for the most part, Cody didn't even acknowledge Lance Archer until the week before their match. They went weeks of building up. This guy destroyed your brother, attacked your wife. And then a week and a half later is when you finally actually acknowledge the guy. I mean, I don't know. There's bad booking by AEW in that part and storytelling wise, but Cage, same thing. He comes into the company, wins that battle royal, faces Moxley, loses because of the whole arm thing, disappears for a while. So these guys are going to take big losses. It is what it is. Mex, did you take Miro all 3 times?
Yes, I did, but I'm still baffled as to why this match is even happening.
Yeah, it's one of those matches that just it doesn't need to happen. It obviously just doesn't. This I know it's not gonna be on the buy-in or anything like that, but it just does a match that just doesn't need to happen. And neither does this one. And it's this tag team match: Sting and Darby Allin taking on another. I would say one of 2 of the disappearing men of AEW and Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Okay, so I say that because to me, Scorpio Sky, Sean Spears have been the disappearing men of AEW since the inception of AEW. They've been there, leave, come back, leave, come back, disappear, come back, disappear, come back. That's what they've been. And just till now, got Sean Spears in the Pinnacle, so he's on TV every week. Scorpio Sky, I thought him winning the Sonic ring, like you said, was gonna, get him to that next level. He loses on Dynamite to Darby Allin, disappears, and now they saddle him with Ethan Page in a tag team. That it's just kind of random, and why they have issues with Sting and Darby Allin, I don't know really. They also have issues with Lance Archer because Lance Archer was helping out Sting and Darby Allin, so they do a 6-man eventually. But I think Sting and Darby Allin just win this outright. But what about you, Max? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one good thing I'm happy about is that Sting is well and healthy enough to compete in the ring live for us, and we'll obviously see whatever capacity that is. Tag match will obviously help protect him, but I'm grateful for Sting and grateful that's the situation with his health. As for this match, I do not care. Like, this is just like, what is this? Like, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, they've been bullying Sting and Darby Allin basically. Ethan Page, I know he'll probably spin off into a little thing with Darby Allin. They've got history from Evolve, very, very good matches if you haven't seen it. But no one really cares. Ethan Page is here basically like a cheap man's MJF, and while MJF is around in the same company, like, you're not hitting those heights, so forget it, sort of thing. And I think Sky has recently come out within the last 48 hours and said he's in his last year of his AEW contract. It's kind of do or die at this point, isn't it? So I think it's been really disappointing for him. I know he was the first tag team champion with Frankie Kazarian, but it's been poor, like you said, on TV 1 second, off TV 1 second. Him and Sean Spears, they got like 9 lives like a cat. It's crazy, but like he said, it's last chance saloon. I'm gonna go with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky to get the win because this match means nothing to me. But if they don't win, what hope does this really have? And the only thing that makes me doubt that is that Sting, is he gonna lose his first live match in front of a crowd? But yeah, I'll go with Sky and Page.
Oh yeah, because remember they had the cinematic match, right, at Revolution. Yeah. So it's his first like in-person match. People are gonna see him. I don't know. I know Scorpio Sky said he got messages from people in WWE, his friends, that said, "Please don't hurt Sting because he's my childhood hero," which is kind of a crazy thing to text somebody, right? But that's what he said, right? So who knows who sent him that? But it's a match. Like, it's just, I don't know why it's happening. It doesn't make a ton of sense. And again, Lance Archer has issues with these guys too. So why isn't he involved in here? Doesn't make a ton of sense. But Dan,
it's not even just the sense. I think it's just the interest. The interest isn't there. I don't think. Like, people don't mind seeing Sting, but is this really the match that you have for him?
I mean, are they going to eventually become tag team champions, right? Like, that's probably the end goal is Darby and Sting be tag team champions. There's not much else for them to do, especially since you took the TNT title off of Darby to kind of saddle him with Sting, a 50-year-old man who's not going to wrestle consistently. Is he going to go get that tag team title? But DW, what do you think?
Well, like, obviously this match, it doesn't make much of sense, but like for Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, it must be an honor. You know, they get to wrestle Sting. That is an honor for any wrestler, especially any current day wrestler. That's like a bucket list, oh my god moment for them. But yeah, Scorpio Sky, I feel like he had that mini feud of Jericho a while back, and that's when I thought, oh well, and he had great matches. That's when I thought, well, that's his role, like upper mid card babyface, almost a Cesaro. You know, he's up there, but can never quite do it. That I thought that was his perfect fit. But they've sort of like thrown him about them. I don't like to criticize booking much because it's live TV. You got 100 different people to fit in and stuff. But yeah, it does feel a bit random to me, and I don't really know much about Ethan Page. I know he's good in Impact, but I've never seen much of him. But yeah, Angus, Sting, and Darby Allin, they are like fun team to watch. Like I did really enjoy the cinematic match, and like I don't mind them two together. They are a good, like it's a natural fit for them to tag team. I feel so. Sting and Darby Allin get the win. They're giving like big pop for the crowd.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, right? So I like cinematic match as well. I thought it was a really, really well done and really good. Minus them actually having live commentary on it. I think that kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into it. But if I look at Sting and I look at Darby Allin's tag team, I see father and son. Basically, that's what I see. You know what I mean? Like that's what I see when I look at it. I see a father and his son, and the son is just trying to be like his dad. No disrespect, but that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just there's not much behind it as to why it's happening. But yeah, Scorpio Sky, to me, I think he's an absolute massive star. I do like your comparison though to a Cesaro because he does give off that kind of vibe, right? When in AEW. So that's it's a good call by you. To me, it's just I don't know. It's this the disappearing man, and he put him and Shawn Spears in a program together one time that lasted like 2 weeks, and then that was it. But I don't know. But I want to get some excitement in here because I know the boy DWE here, massive Anthony Ogogo fan. So we're going to get into this match. Anthony Ogogo, the former Olympian, medalist in the Olympics, versus the one night only American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, Cody Rhodes. So he's doing it. Now the build up to this match, it's like over like hyped and over I don't even know what the word, sensationalized for like no reason, because there isn't much behind them for it to be this like I'm bringing the whole US and you're bringing the whole UK type of thing, like a war kind of World War III type of setup here. It's just odd. I don't think it warranted all that, but I'll kick it to you, DW, because you're Anthony Ogogo. That's your guy right there.
Oh, he's like you stuck at the match graphic there. When you think like billboards and like post like advertising, he just looks like a star. You'd see him on a fight poster in UFC, or you see him on a big boxing pay-per-view. You know, he just looks like it's a natural fit for him to be on a fancy match graphic. And like I know this story, it hasn't been a hot enough feud for it to be UK versus USA, but it is a fun story to tell, and it's a country versus country. Because it does get everyone involved, no matter if you don't like the guys or not. You know, they're representing your country, so you gotta back them. And like, this is the match I'm most excited for on the card. Like, out of everything, this is the one I'm most excited for. And like, Cody's great, and like, the promo was a bit, I'm not sure on it, but Anthony Ogogo, fantastic, and like, he's gonna definitely take the win. Hopefully, he'll have a dominating performance as well.
Yeah, I think he has to, because if he doesn't, it's like where you go with because all right, so the factory team, right? I remember Max, you were talking about this one time on a live stream, and I was in the chat. You guys were talking about is like if he beat the leader already of the factory, if he beats now this guy who's like the second in command, is the group over? Like where does the factory go from there? And does Ogogo become the leader of the group now if he wins? But again, the rivalry, there's not really much of a rivalry between. If you go on the rivalry between UK and the US, the rivalry really dates back over 200 years ago, right? To 1770s, to the Revolutionary War. That's like the only time really like, there's a rivalry. Everything that is just, it's just friendly. So yeah, there's that aspect there. Obviously he said he plans on running for senator for the state of Georgia. So he's eventually going to do that politician role, and he's already practicing and testing it out there in the ring, right? He's using it as like a focus group, the audience there, whether it hit or whether it doesn't, because people don't like politicians. So why would you try to use that in professional wrestling, try to be a babyface and be a politician? Nobody likes politicians, right? So Max, I'll kick it over to you. What do you think is going to go down here?
You know, Cody is the baby face in the scenario.
Yeah.
Although right now, I think everyone, including you guys over in the States, is feeling Anthony Ogogo. Anthony Ogogo can win here, and he can cheat to win. Obviously, he's got the factory in his corner, and that might be the best way to still give him a dominant performance, like Dan said. But, you know, it doesn't completely bury Cody. Like, it leaves room for them to have another match or whatever the case is, because he won by cheating, or someone from the factory got involved. I was always backing Anthony Ogogo. I've been waiting for a very long time for Anthony Ogogo to make his debut. Been very curious. Obviously, he's been training for the best part of 2 years with AEW. Probably been training before that. When he finally made his on-screen wrestling debut, because obviously we've seen him doing commentary and stuff, I was a bit like, okay, he's going with the whole British gimmick thing. I was like, okay, we've seen it before. But after Cody has cut this rah-rah speech about America and stuff, and we've seen Anthony Ogogo's promos and his interactions on Twitter and stuff, I am all in on this guy, man. He is quality. Obviously, it is still the ring stuff that we are yet to, that's got the question mark over it. Like you said earlier on in the show, Anthony, can he do a 10-minute match? With Cody, yes, Cody can kind of coach him through that. Like you said, they probably practiced this hundreds of times already, and just going to give us the real thing on Sunday. Anthony Ogogo's my pick. I'm still conflicted, because this is America versus Great Britain, and is Cody gonna lie down wearing all American get up for a Brit? Like, it's crazy. But I'll go with my boy Anthony Ogogo.
There you go. Now again, all right. So for me, like, I think Anthony Ogogo, I think he understands what it is, like what wrestling is, in the aspect of, I got to get people riled up, right? Like, that's my job. I know what I got to do, right? So his Twitter spats and stuff he does on social media and stuff he says, he understands that aspect, because he comes from the fight game. And that's also an aspect that crosses over from the fight game to professional wrestling. It crosses over. Like Conor McGregor, that stuff crosses over, that bravado, that knowing what to get people riled up and come want to see you either win or get your ass beat. One of the two things, right? He understands that. So he's already got a leg up on a ton of other guys just with that. The in-ring stuff can be developed. He's a natural athlete. Again, for me, I can't see him doing punches in a match. Like, that drives me crazy, because he's a professional boxer. Anybody he touches with his fist he'll knock out in AEW, right? So I think he needs to do uppercuts and forearms, stuff like that. That's just a nitpicky thing. I got a funny thing though. My brother, who I do the reviews with, says a go who?
No.
So that's funny. So he's not. I guess he's not sold on a go-go there.
I can't even lie. I'm backing a go-go.
Yeah.
Because I think Cody's gonna do the right thing.
Yes,
but
yes.
if Cody wins, I won't be surprised, because Cody is a bit Triple H-ish sometimes, and he loves himself. So,
Well, I remember in the stream you were doing, Max, on your channel, right? You were talking about this, and I think I said it in the chat, and it just came to my mind. I was like, when it comes to him, you said he was Triple H's, right? Like, he talks about Triple H, but he tends to do the same things. In the end, you live long enough to see yourself become the enemy, and that's the story of Cody Rhodes. Yeah. He's gonna live long enough to see himself become Triple H, right? And do the same things Triple H does, because you can talk as much as you want about somebody in that position, but you don't know how you would react once you get to that position. He's obviously got there, and he's going to do the same thing, right? Because he's still in his prime. He still has an ego, obviously. He has to. He comes from wrestling royalty, kind of. And he knows that he still draws. He still puts butts in the seats. So with him having the pen and also being an actual star, he's going to look out for himself, number one, because everybody will, especially when you get to that level. But Maddie DeRusta, Maddie, what's up, man? Good to have you here. What's good, guys? Hope you have a dope stream. Just stopping by, show some love. Yo, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. It's good to hear from you. So yeah, Dan, let me get your last thoughts on this match. Ogogo, Cody Rhodes. Let me know.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be a fun match. Actually, the crowd's going to be red hot for it. They love Cody Rhodes, especially of AEW fans. You know, Cody is like Jesus to them. And Ogogo, he knows how to get heat. You know, he put his flag across Cody's, and like I bet you if that was in a full house, imagine that happened in the ECW back in the day. There'd be chairs thrown, tomatoes, everything. And I just think if you could build Ogogo up, obviously AEW, they were going to go to the UK before the pandemic. So when they do eventually go back to the UK, it's going to be incredible to see him in the UK, the way UK crowds are as well. We're very precious and proud of a UK wrestler and if they make it through, because it's so hard to. And like, I think this match will be fun. Like, this will be the most crowd involvement. Like almost similar to like a Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, like the way the crowd will just go crazy for everything Ogogo does, because he's new. He's more the unknown, really.
Like, I think this match would have gone over better if it was in the UK, to be honest with you. The rowdy UK crowd, I think that would have kind of better. In the chat, Dirty Heels podcast in the building. What's up, guys? Dirty Heels, check out them on YouTube. My East Coast guys right here, check them out. Thanks for dropping in. Let me know what you think of the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. Who thinks is going to win? All right, so let's get to this next match, and we'll kick it over to the tag team title match. Here we go. The Young Bucks, the tag team champions, who have gone heel, face, and now they're heel again. They're taking on Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, who just committed, robbery, like in plain sight on this past episode of Dynamite when they stole a pair of Jordans off the feet of guys that they assaulted post-match. So they're, I guess, tweeners and not good guys or bad guys. But yeah, so for me, this kind of is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of what the Bucks have been doing. Like their whole back and forth. They had issues with the the Good Brothers. Then they had issues with Kenny Omega. Then they kind of just fell in line. Then I don't know. There's a lot of continuity missing there. Moxley and Kingston, fine, cool. They made up. They're cool. I'm still not a huge fan of when they ran the truck into the trailer, because I think they look dumb in the end, because they boom, I crash in, they get out like, oh, nobody's in here. All right, let's leave. It kind of fell on deaf ears there. But Max, I'll kick it over to you. Who do you think's winning this match?
Again, this is a big, this is for the crowd. This one is for the crowd pleasing match. Moxley and Kingston, the crowd is gonna lose their minds for them. And I see them walking out as champions. It's weird to say. I don't necessarily think they should. I'm not a fan of the two guys come together and become champions stuff. I like tag teams being champions. But I think they can win tonight or on Sunday night and not hold the belts for long. So yeah, maybe even drop it back to the Bucks. Who knows? But yeah, the Bucks. It's hard, man. I guess my heart says Mox and Kingston. My head is telling me Bucks to retain, but I'll go with Mox and Kingston.
I think they should go with the switch. I just think Mox and Kingston right now have the more momentum going in. Yeah. But again, I don't know what they want to do with the whole crossover thing. Do they want to eventually have, I think who's the Impact champion? They just won Rhino, right? Rhino and I can't remember the other guy's name.
The Impact tag champion.
The Impact tag champions. Yeah, right. Isn't it VBD or something like that? Right, their name. There's a group name.
He's a big guy. That's all I know.
Yeah, I can't remember, because I personally myself, I don't want to watch a ton. I don't watch a ton of Impacts. I don't have the channel. But whatever. So I don't know if they're ever gonna do a crossover with that. So I don't know what they want to do. But again, remember Kofi and Xavier said you actually have to sign forms legitimizing yourselves as an actual tag team. So has Kingston and Moxley actually done that? And again, I'm not a huge fan, like you said, Max. I'm not a huge fan of that either, of the way they do that when they just mesh guys together and put them as a tag team. I mean, how many times have we seen it? Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin, Steve Austin and Dude Love, Shawn Michaels and John Cena. I mean, those random tag teams that they just put together and then they just kind of go from there. My cousin Eric in the chat, what did I miss? A lot. So we kick it over to Dan. What do you think about this tag team title match?
I think it's actually quite a fun dynamic. Like we see with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, there's such like thuggish, and like people like there is something about that is enjoyable and really fun to watch. And like they have made up for the Revolution, like pyro disaster they had, and like because I really think they're a fun team. And like it reminds me of, if you go on TikTok or Instagram, you see old Attitude Era clips of backstage segments, and they're hilarious. Or Ruthless Aggression, and there's backstage segments with Cena and Vince. They doing all these wild things, literally like their theme song. And like, I think they could do a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of room for more fun instead of take the seriousness off it a bit and just have more fun, like attitude era, backstage stuff they can do, or in ring stuff. So I really liking this, and like they're going to have a good match. They're 4 fantastic wrestlers. There's no doubt about their ability. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the switch as well. I think it'd be cool to have Moxley as a tag champ. He is an underrated tag team wrestler. We used to see him as single stars, but in WWE, him and Seth are great tag team champions,
Brilliant,
and I'm sure him and Kingston can do the same. And like Kingston, to have him get a title, his rise to fame almost has been incredible, and he does deserve that big title win along with Moxley.
Yeah, he makes some really good points there. Yeah, he is an underrated tag team wrestler. They can have a lot of fun with these guys, like you said. They can have a lot of fun because they have a good rapport with each other. And yeah, they're what I would call ruffians. They're up there. You know what I mean? That's what they are. You got Eddie Kingston, looks like somebody's uncle who who still thinks he's hip, right? Still thinks he's cool.
Yeah,
like, straight out of Yonkers. You know what I'm saying? Yonkers, New York. So I mean, he's a street guy. He has that vibe to him, and he dresses like an uncle, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, guys, that's what he dresses like the Young Bucks have said it, right? You got West Coast Podcast. Mox and Eddie will win so Tony can force a Wild Thing moment from the Major League movie. Just over 500 tickets still available, so hit up Tony on Twitter on Sunday for handouts. Yeah, I'm interested. I wonder how much they're paying to get that Wild Thing music for his intro, for his entrance. I'm interested to find out the financials of that, how much they're actually paying for the copyright rights to kind of play that on their shows. But all right, so Mex, you are going with the Bucks, correct?
Moxley and Kingston.
You're going Moxley and Kingston. So compared to your other 2 times that you made these predictions, has it changed?
So I've chosen Mox and Kingston twice, and the first time I chose the Bucks.
There you go. All right, so I say you're going with your gut there, and I think they should go with the switch. The Bucks title run's been kind of lackluster. I think they should eventually get into a feud with the Good Brothers. No titles involved. Just have kind of a mean feud. I kind of wish this match as well would have been like a hardcore match, like a Extreme Rules type of thing, or a Falls Count Anywhere. I think it would have been a lot more fun, and you could have done a lot more crazy stuff. But let's kick it over to this match right here. Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, taking on Britt Baker. Right now I think I'm like madly in love with Britt Baker right now, and I want her to win and be champion for like the rest of eternity for when it comes to AEW. And so AEW goes out of business, let Britt Baker be your AEW World Champion. But it's finally happening. I've been clamoring. We've all been clamoring here for a lot. She's the biggest star they have, because Thunder Rosa, they're not going to showcase her as like a AEW superstar because she's still with NWA. So we're not going to get her being champion most likely unless she leaves NWA and comes to AEW exclusively. Britt Baker, I think she has absolutely everything you need and for it to be a star. She has the mic skills, she has the attitude, she's solid in ring. I like her finisher with the surgical glove and putting in the mouth. She has a gimmick built in because she's actually a dentist, so it all works out. And I think it's time. I think this will happen here, and if she'll be finally crowned as the queen of the women's division, and I think she'll run amok. Like, I don't think anybody can take the belt off her. But Dan, I'll kick it over to you. What do you think?
Well, shout out to all the women in wrestling. Literally, since probably the past 3-4 years, they've literally taken over. I've never seen a takeover like this. Like, Sasha and Bianca killed it. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, killing it. Shida, I can't remember one bad match she's added that title run. And like, they've all done very well. So they all deserve a massive round of applause. They've really put women's, like, it's probably slightly edging the men's at the moment. And yeah, I go with Britt Baker. You got to go where the momentum is, really. And like, she has been great, but maybe she does deserve a bit of time off. Maybe it'd be nice for her just to sit back, hit the reset button, and while the momentum, strike while the iron's hot. And Britt Baker, I want to see, like a custom DMD championship, maybe like Stone Cold had the skull. She could have maybe the Tough or something on it, something fun like that.
Or like a big ass tooth, I guess, on it, right? For her, she's a big ass tooth on it. I mean, it's a tiny belt, to be honest with you. The belt is like super like dainty and small. I think they gotta brighten it up for the women. But yeah, I agree. I think she should win. That's where the momentum is at. And yeah, she doesn't even have an action figure, but she'll be a champion. Makes no sense, right? But she's making fun of everything. She makes fun of the ranking system and how she pretty much made her way back up to the top by winning a bunch of dark elevation matches. Take that for what you will. But Max, I'll kick it over to you. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Big up Shida. Shida has done a fantastic job as champion through this whole pandemic era, as it's being called. Fantastic match every time she's asked to put on one. They have done her a massive disservice by not really giving her feuds. You know, it's just been kind of one-off matches as soon as we have like a big show or something like that.
Yep.
And like I said, all her matches have been quality, but there's just been no real substance behind it. I think she had what looked like a bit of a feud with Abaddon, but once she beat Abaddon, it was done. There was nothing that came from it.
Yeah.
She has spoken out recently as well about not being able to cut promos in AEW or not being given the chance to. I don't know why they just don't, pre-produce them backstage or whatever, edit them so it comes out perfect. And that's probably what's hindered her getting a real feud, under her belt. But the time has come. In fact, scratch that. It is overdue that Britt Baker is made the AEW World Women's Champion. She has been fantastic since they turned her heel. Like when they brought her in, there was all the face kind of stuff. Since they turned this woman heel, she has been on a hot streak. She got injured, remember, halfway through this, and she was still on TV every week in that wheelchair, cutting promos, maybe, really boosting her own profile and stuff. She is fantastic. Well overdue, like I said. Thank you, Shida, for everything you've done. But it's time for my dentist to run riot. Let's go all the way.
I think the most perfect way to kind of sum this thing up is she has been a tremendous champion, a fighting champion, just been booked improperly in terms of feud. It's kind of like Britt Baker's coming and your time is up and her time is now. Quote my boy John Cena right there. That's what it's basically all about. Now, Shida, I'm going to critique her just a bit. But she's been hurt by the pandemic atmosphere of the arena because she doesn't have the presence where she's able to hold the interest by herself, just out there by herself. She needs that crowd participation to hold that interest in whatever she is doing. So I think she's been hurt by that. I think if she becomes champion again when there's live crowds again and you're running and gunning, I think she performs better and it comes off better. She'll still have tremendous matches regardless if there's anybody there. There are people there. And I think that's what's hurt her run and the feuds around her is that she's not able to carry it by herself, just through her presence, her personality, and her attitude to carry it by herself. Britt Baker, she could be in a broom closet and be entertaining. She doesn't need anybody to be there with her. She'll be entertaining by herself in a broom closet. Shida doesn't have that natural ability, so she needs the crowd to be invested in her, cheering her on, have her, being beat down, fighting from underneath the crowd. Boom, starts tapping. Then she comes back for the comeback. That's what she is. That's what she's built for. She needs the crowd. So she's been hurt by this. But I think it's going to be an awesome match. Now, do you think it main events?
No. Gotta be Stadium Stampede that main events, really.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough to put this one as the main event. I would like to see it as a main event. I think it would be cool because it'll be like, we're showcasing, because I believe that they've done a disservice to the women's division entirely since the inception of AEW. It hasn't been really done well. The women's division, I think this would be kind of a vindication for the division itself to be the main event of probably their biggest show of the year, right? Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know whether we forever fans are trying to work out what is their WrestleMania. Is it Double or Nothing, or is it All Out, or is it Revolution? I don't know, but I think whenever they do, and I think this is going to happen, Thunder Rosa is going to win that NWA Women's Championship, Britt Baker AEW Women's Championship, and those two are going to go at it, for both championships on the line. Maybe, I think that's going to main event. Whenever we get that is the main event, whatever show it is.
It'd be cool to be a ladder match too. If they were to do it, I would do that one as a ladder match, like double title ladder match. And I think that would obviously be an event. My cousin Eric in the chat would not mind being in that broom closet with Britt Baker.
Get out in the broom closet with my dentist.
I mean, Adam Cole's a very, very lucky man. All right, so let's kick it over to this next match. Okay, so we're in agreement that Stadium Stampede probably should main event just because the whole outlandish nature of it and it being outdoors, right? Like, in the stadium. All right, so we'll kick it to this match then. We have 2 matches left. The triple threat match, Pac, Orange Cassidy versus the belt collector, Kenny Omega, who was pictured with only one title, because why would they reference Impact whatsoever, right? Like, why, right? Like, who? Well, I mean, you know, I'm like, who? You gotta be dumb to do that, right? But yeah, it's a triple threat match. We all know he's not gonna lose this match, and now I have my issues with the way Pac and Cassidy kind of bolted up the rankings and got to this match. Now, however they did it, they won matches on Dark and Dark Elevate. You know how I feel about it. I've gotten into so many arguments with people, or not even arguments, but discussions with people about this and how this whole optics of this whole thing looks, with them winning their matches on YouTube shows and then being in main events. I have a problem with them being number one, number two contenders in the rankings, and Pac being number one contender has to face Cassidy in a match to see if he faces the champion, even though he's the number one contender, right? What's the point of the eliminator match if, like, 2 weeks ago, Blood and Guts, you had SCU 2 weeks in a row, the number one contenders for the tag team titles. Blood and Guts, they have to go through a fatal 4-way against the number 2, 3, and 4 guys. Like, what a sense does that make? Get rid of the rankings then. I'll shut up. Dan, go. Bro. I'll kick it to you. Tell me.
Just before Dan goes, like, we all went to school. One comes before two. Like, and that is it. That's where the conversation begins and ends. Yes. If you have someone that's first, he is above everyone that is second, third, fourth, etc. He is the number one contender. Why we then have to do an eliminator match makes zero sense. But go through, Dan.
There you go.
Yeah, well, this match, right? Obviously, the build's been it's very random, but like it's gonna be a good match. So you saw how good Pac and Orange Cassidy are in the ring together, and Kenny and Pac. The history's there, but like, you know, no doubt we'll have a fun match. But to me, this is their WrestleMania. It was the first debut show, and everyone remembers how big that show was. Like how big, you know, Moxley returning, doing the AA off the poker chips. You know, fantastic show that was in 2019. So for me, this should be the WrestleMania. This doesn't scream a big fight feel whatsoever. Like, I hate to critique wrestling and booking because I know it's a lot harder than what we like.
Yeah,
see.
Of course, yeah.
It's a lot more behind the scenes, a lot more trickier than what it seems like. But it's just like there's so many guys they probably could have put there. Like, I don't mind seeing Pac and Cassidy. That maybe have that. You could have had that as another match, but for me, Kenny, when he won that title, it's a different Kenny Omega from when he won that title in winter. And winter is coming. Like that Kenny looked like undestroyable, almost a Thanos like, you know, he did whatever to win. He shocked the world at one, beat Moxley by cheating, which he never thought he'd do. And now he's gone a bit left, isn't it? Really.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's not the same Kenny Omega, right? Like, yeah. I thought this run was going to be a lot different, right? I do agree with you completely there. Remember, all we're doing, it's a critique of what it is. Like, a lot of people get upset, right? Like, oh, how are you going to say that? So it's just a critique. It's constructive criticism. That's all it is. But Max, I'll kick it over to you. What do you think about this match? Do you agree with Dan in his critique of Kenny Omega's title run?
Yes, but I think that is off the past knowledge of, we know how intense his run was in New Japan. In New Japan, obviously, he was, when he became champion, the level of the wrestling over there alone, the guys he's coming up against, how serious everything is taken. You guys, you have to remember, this is Western TV now. This is American TV. There has to be a strong element of entertainment. Yes. We know guys like Roderick Strong, Cesaro, like Dan mentioned before, that can wrestle the hell out of anybody, but there's no entertainment factor to them.
That's true.
So Kenny Omega is very much having the time of his life right now with that championship. It's not about putting on, well, he's gonna put on the best matches because it's Kenny Omega, but it's not about delivering those 7-star matches. It's just about really making good TV that people can tune into. Totally understand where Dan was going with, you know, this is just kind of a, you know, there's no real heat behind this match sort of thing. And again, crowd pleasing match. You've got a crowd in, you know, for the first time. The whole world and their dog loves Orange Cassidy, so why not put him in the main event for everyone to lose their minds? Orange Cassidy and Pac had a fantastic Dynamite match. I think it was a Dynamite match way back when. Pac and Kenny Omega have had what is being called one of the best Dynamite matches of all time, the Iron Man match. So yeah, this is just a combination of all of those moving parts. Like yourselves, I don't expect anyone but Omega to walk out of this as as champion. I think the whole world would be shocked if Omega drops this belt to any one of these guys, with all due respect. But yeah, this is just crowd pleasing. Just put some guys out there that the crowd absolutely loves. And yeah, let's just have a good match, and because it will be a bloody good match.
It will be, but I like Dan was saying, they do need to like solidify what's their big show. Like, what's the biggest show of the year, right? So is it Double or Nothing? Is it you know?
But can I ask why? Why do they need to? Why can't all four be taken at that kind of high level? Like, I know as fans we want to know because we want to clear, and maybe it's a comparison thing. We know WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year, so we want to know. But why do they need to? Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Why do you think?
If I'll compare it to you guys, right? So I'll do a comparison because you guys are from the UK. I would say it's like you got the FA Cup, you got the league title, and then you got the Champions League. You know what I'm saying? So you know, discerning which is the most important one out of them all. And I think you have to do it because not only does it create excitement for the season, right, of that when that pay-per-view is coming up, but then you're able to kind of book everything around it. And I think it'll give you a clearer direction in terms of how you book things. I'm going to build a guy from this month because I know I have 8 months to our biggest show. I'm going to build him 8 months out for him to be the guy who stands tall at the end, the close of that show. That's the way I see it anyways. Like, I see it more like that. Like, I see it more in terms of long-term storytelling and moving the needle in that direction. I think it gives you a lot of help in how you direct and how you set the sails for the voyage ahead. I think it probably works better that way. But Dan, give me your opinion. What do you think?
Well, for me, it's like, it's simple promotion, really. It's like wrestling is very different. Where, like, if you look at other sporting pay-per-views, they sell the pay-per-views on the names who's fighting. Like, you see it be McGregor versus Khabib or Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul or whatever. You never see that in wrestling. Whether they should do it or not is up for debate. But, like, if you have that one big show, right, you're telling everyone, the whole world, and they're going to strap in. If you say, look, this is our biggest show, this is what you need to tune in for if you're not going to tune into anything else. You straps everyone in. It gives everyone that bit of like, oh, I must, in the back of their head, they're thinking, I must see this. This is a show of shows. And for the wrestlers and the company, it gives them motivation to be, oh, look, I got to be on that show in that spot. I got to work all year round to be on that spot, on that show. And it's like a prestige thing as well. You could use it in rankings and stuff. Like, you know, he had this main event's Double or Nothing. He's wrestled this many times in Double or Nothing. Like, it's just it makes a spectacle of it bigger as well.
I definitely agree with both of you 100%. I want to know as well, but I just thought, why should we? You know, but at the same time, I think maybe, you know, AEW are only 2 years old or something. Like that. Maybe they don't know yet. Maybe they don't know what is our biggest show. Maybe they're waiting for data to kind of make those decisions. Oh, do people come to this show the most? What show is talked about online the most? And that will be their WrestleMania. Maybe they just don't know right now.
I mean, interesting booking idea, right? Like, if you set up Double or Nothing as your biggest show, right, you can come up with the storyline right before. Look, the rankings are going to lock in this date. Mad dash right there to get to the top of the rankings for that. You get that big match because they're not gonna do a Royal Rumble or anything like that, right? It's type of aspect like that. So to get the main event match at Double or Nothing and say it's your biggest show, the mad dash, the scramble to get to the top of the rankings, and guys are going all out, try to win. I think you could have a ton of, because then there's a ton of stakes involved there. The stakes are high, right? Everybody's trying to win all their matches by any means necessary because they're trying to get to the top of that ranking by this date. Because if you get to the top of the ranking, you're number one ranked at that date. There's no eliminator matches, nothing like that. You're number one. You're getting the title shot at Double or Nothing. I think that's the best thing they could probably do. Let's get to the chat real quick. Juggernaut, I'm excited for Double or Nothing. It's awesome. There's going to be 100% capacity. Yeah, Justin. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Go ahead, Dan. Go.
Like that, the fans is such a difference. Like, I started doing YouTube in the pandemic. I haven't done one video yet where there are fans in the crowd, and I can't wait to do that. And like, it's a massive difference. And you see it in ratings, you see it in the wrestlers and the morale and energy. It's a massive difference. And like, wrestling is a fan-based sport. You need the fans to wrestle. Like, boxing, you can do without any fans. It's competitive. Wrestling's completely different, and it's all on the fans. And this is literally what they needed.
Yeah, because in the sport of boxing, you're motivating kind of yourself. The competitive nature of it is what motivates you for the most part. Here, it's that connection. You know, I'm connecting with these people here. They're cheering for me. They want me to get back up on top. But Justin, thank you for checking out the stream. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. You know, full capacity. But we have more fans of DWE. Let's go DWE.
Speaking of boxers doing wrestling, future world champion boxer. I know him personally. Future world champion boxer. I'm putting all my money on it. I'll bet the house on it.
There you go. That room you're in, that's bet on this guy right here. It's gonna be a future world champion right here. Love to hear it, man. I love the excitement. All right, so let's kick it to the last match of the night, which we all agree will be the main event, and it's the Stadium Stampede part two, because remember, it was the Stadium Stampede last year. It was the Inner Circle versus the whole Elite crew. Now it's the Inner Circle as good guys taking on the Pinnacle, and the Inner Circle loses, they have to disband forever. Take that for what you will. I mean, it is what it is. Like we were talking before, Mech said they should have done Blood and Guts here, and then the other match, the Stadium Stampede, should have been done where Blood and Guts taking place. You know, vice versa. Makes a ton of sense. But so I'll kick it to Mech first. What do you think is gonna happen here?
Inner Circle were in the first Stadium Stampede match against the Elite and lost. They have said that this is going to be less of a comedy kind of match that one was. It's going to be more serious. What I'm most looking forward to is if they can integrate like a live crowd within this. Like I was remembering back to, you know, old Attitude Era days, and you know, you might be in the concourse getting a hot dog and the fight breaks out behind you. Like I want to see stuff like that. I really want to see the crowd in and around them as safely as they can do it, obviously. I'm gonna go for an Inner Circle win. I don't think that they're going to break up, but I do think that Chris Jericho will be written off TV somehow. Like he's already going into this with an arm injury, I believe. So I believe he'll be taken out somewhere along the match, but somehow they'll win. And maybe this will be Sammy Guevara, who's been pretty instrumental in this story as to MJF tricking him and all of this kind of stuff, getting him kicked out. Sammy Guevara kind of takes the reins of Inner Circle. And yeah, it's from there we just see, you know, maybe we'll see Santana and Ortiz kind of go off into the tag division, and Sammy versus MJF. Their connection may become a bit more loose, but I don't think this match is going to force them to divide. So yeah, I'm going to go with Inner Circle.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth with the whole Sammy Guevara thing. I could definitely see that going down. Yeah. The breakup, will it happen or will it not? That's debatable, right? Like, is it the right time? I don't think it is, because the team hasn't really run its course, and they're not to the point where like you see them on TV, you're just like, I'm kind of tired of these guys already. And yeah, Sammy Guevara could eventually be that pseudo leader of the Inner Circle, so Jericho can get some time off, freshen up, and make his way back in. But before we get to Dan, we got here Becco with a big heart for you saying what you said. We have West Coast Popcast saying, great point, guys. Very nice discussion for me. Mania is a season finale, and that's how I judge builds and storytelling. Yeah, Zach, we totally agree with you. It seems like the most logical.
I wish WWE used it as a season finale and didn't give us the same thing at WrestleMania Backlash.
That is true, but then, like, what do you do for Backlash? And we're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need those rematches, I guess, right? Then here we go. See, it's just easy booking. That's all it is, right? It's lazy booking by them, right? Then Becco, here we go. You lads just earned a new sub. Big up, Anthony Mex. Becco, thank you very much. Big up. There you go. You love to see the subs happen in real time, right? It's awesome stuff. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. And, you know, we'll hope you have jump into more of our live streams and all that good stuff. So that's awesome stuff. Thank you again. So yeah, let's get back to this match. I think Sammy Guevara could be the pseudo leader, just takes over and kind of holds the group down for a little bit. Makes a ton of sense, Max. I totally agree. Dan, what about you?
Well, like this is the big fight feel. Like this match, it's incredible. The possibilities are endless. It's a match where you got two pretty much gangs that hate each other, and you got stories dwindle in between with MJF Guevara, MJF Jericho, Hager and Wardlow. You know, the two tag teams FTR and LAX are Pride and Powerful. You know, it's just so much involved in this, and like I think if they could somehow do it within the fans, maybe with literally in the stands. Just have them fight within the stands, or move them all to the football field they've got, and like put barricades around it maybe, and just if they could integrate it with the fans, we could see so entertaining, wild stuff. But obviously, it all depends on the production, and I hope they've had a couple of rehearsals and we get really good production for it. It could be one of the most entertaining, and it's hard to do never before stuff in wrestling. Like wrestling's been around a long time, and this is a never before concept done within a crowd, within crowds. Like, so I would really be upset if they just had it on the screen and the crowd watched on the screen.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, before you go, Max, Jericho thrown off the top of the Jaguar Stadium, maybe, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where you read him off. Thrown off the top, similar to the way Hulk Hogan threw, the Big Show off of Cobo Arena at Halloween Havoc, and he just, rose up from the dead. But he goes away for a little bit. But go ahead, Max.
That's wild. But Dan just touched on it a bit in regards to the production, and I said this on my show, and I'm gonna say it here again. AEW, I am begging you, when it comes to the main event and the main event big angle, please this time get it right.
Yes.
When I'm doing my reviews with whomsoever on Monday or whatever, I don't want to be talking about sparklers that never went off, or bad camera angles which showed like a whoopee cushion. Like, please just get whatever the big angle that you're gonna close the show with. Let it be perfect. Let us talk about how great Double or Nothing was, and let's not get caught up on what went wrong. That's what I'm gonna say.
I totally agree with you, man. That's the problem, right? That's the problem. If you're gonna come up with a big stunt. Now, shout out to Eddie Kingston, because nobody else on the planet will sell sparklers as much as Eddie Kingston did at Revolution, right? Nobody's going to sell it the way he did, because he sold it like he got shot in the back with a 12-gauge shotgun. But yeah, if you're going to go off with a big match with a big spot, you have to make sure it lands 110% right, because if it doesn't, all of us are going to be like, that's what we took from it, right? They're going to be like, oh, why can't you just like the match? I love the match. It was an awesome match. But what do you remember the most from it? Was it the match itself and the move he did 3/4 of the way in, or a quarter of the way into the match? Or how many times he flipped off of this, or how many times he hit the ropes and it exploded? Or what you came out, your lasting memory of it is the explosion at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you go in doing something and it ends too quickly, if you know what I mean. What do you remember the most? The disappointment of it ending so fast, or the small amount of time you spent doing it? You know what I'm talking about. Dan, go ahead and get your thoughts on that.
Like, it is like, I don't want to bring him into AEW, but Shane McMahon, he does the big spots perfectly. We always see a Shane McMahon spot and it always lands. If he's jumping off a cell, getting chucked off a cage, whatever, like jumping off Titantrons, he knows how to do them. And like, I beg they do something cool. Maybe they don't have to do a big spot. I need to have a lot of fun with it. But if they do a big spot, they gotta make sure, just cut it right. Just make sure the cameras get it right, because they will get mocked, and like it'll turn out more of a joke. All the effort into the match will just go because of one spot, which is unfortunate, but it is the truth.
But that's why that's what we are as humans, right? We remember the stuff that sticks in our mind more than other things. And if you're gonna go with one thing, that is gonna stick in your mind the way the biggest part, whether it be the biggest disappointing or the biggest high of it, the biggest low of it, that's what you come out remembering. And that's the problem. So Jericho, he took the big bump off. Kudos to him, because it's a big bump, but everybody just thinks about the ending and what it looked like, rather than the sheer nature of him taking that bump, or the sheer nature of the match, or how it ended, or how it started, how it went midway through. So that stuff tends to happen. But they got to, Max, you're totally right. Make the production top notch, because if you don't, they should have been testing this thing out 4 weeks in a row, 4 weeks from now, because they do own the stadium, so they can just practice whenever the hell they want. But yeah, I mean, check out Halloween Havoc 95. I mean, the Giant is killed and he comes back to life. Now, could it happen to Chris Jericho on Stadium Stampede? It could definitely happen. I mean, I don't know. But if you want to see the proper production of a big spot, check out, I did a Backlash 2007 retro review with my guys, Steve, Barry, and Jonesy. Check that out, because we talk about last man standing match between Undertaker and Batista. The way that match ends, they show it at an angle that you can't really see them landing, so then they can go and check all the rest of the angles to see if it looks okay, and then they start showing replays. That's the way you would probably do it. So take that from them. But yeah, so we're all picking, I think we're picking all of the Inner Circle, right? Take this one.
I'm going Pinnacle. I think maybe it is time. Like, the Inner Circle are great. They probably do have more legs than them, but it's just, what is the point of Pinnacle winning the Blood and Guts if they don't win by year again? Like, it's a bit backwards to me, especially the momentum they've got. MJF is on the run of his life at the moment. Heck, even Sean Spears, he's come back to life as a bit of a good, finally getting used right. And Wardlow's I think he's the most underrated out of all of them. And he's one of the most underrated stars in AEW. He's got money all over him. So definitely, I think he can go with the momentum, and I'm going Pinnacle.
Good call on Wardlow. That's a good call on Wardlow. But yeah, but Sean Spears, I mean, if they win, I kind of hope Sean Spears is the guy that wins it for him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's nice to see.
So, but Max, you're sticking with Inner Circle.
Yeah, Dan raised some really good points there.
Does, right?
Should I change my mind?
No.
But no, I'll stick with Inner Circle.
All right, cool. So, all right, we're all in a group. We're got our picks locked in. Let us know. I mean, we'll find out if we were right or wrong. Sunday night, May 30th, 2021, Double or Nothing, AEW Double or Nothing. I guess we're calling it their biggest show of the year, but who the hell knows? We'll find that out maybe in a few years from now. What's their biggest show once they get all the metrics and the analytics in and all that stuff like that. But yeah, that's the show. Okay, so let's end it with this. Dan, I'll start with you. Out of 5, what do you think the overall pay-per-view is going to be?
Oh, it's hard to say because AEW, I tend to find them consistent on Dynamite, but pay-per-view, like last year's All Out was shocking, and then they had a really good Full Gear, and like Revolution was really good apart from the ending. But I'm gonna go with 4 out of 5. I think they're not gonna mess up the first time fans are back, and this is pretty much the first time fans are back in the whole of wrestling for a big show. So they I don't think they'll mess it up. I think the way they've booked it is a lot of crowd pleasing, and the matches they've got in there is just to pop the crowd and fully get the crowd popping. So I think it'll be 4 out of 5. I think they'll go in good and they'll finish strong.
What about you, Max? What do you think?
Yeah, similar. Although, where there is a crowd, a lot of adrenaline will be running, and, that could make people want to do a bit more and give a bit more oomph, and something could go wrong. But I'll be positive. And again, 4 out of 5, they usually deliver. So why not on Sunday night?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3 out of 5 just because I hope to be surprised by it. Now, the only reason I give it 3 out of 5 is because I think that the Miro Lance Archer and the Sting Darby Allin Scorpio and Ethan Page are just a bit of a letdown matches. They're just going to be there. I'm not saying they're going to be bad matches, but just in general, like the stories behind them, they don't really have me invested much whatsoever. The other matches, I mean, not even Cage and Page, but I think it's going to be a good match. It's just there's not a lot of story involved in a lot of these matches, so I think that might hurt the card. But in terms of in-ring, I don't think we're going to get a bad match, to be honest with you. And I'm most interested to see Britt Baker hold that title and then Stadium Stampede. But we'll finish it with this. I'm sorry. Max, what do you think is going to be the highlight of the night?
Took the words out of my mouth. For a spectacle, I'm looking forward to Stadium Stampede. For an actual in-ring match, I'm dying to see the coronation of Britt Baker. So, yeah.
What about you, Dan?
For me, I think Ogogo's going to steal the show. That's the thing that I think that'll be the biggest takeaway from the whole pay-per-view. It's either going to be Stadium Stampede or Ogogo in my mind. But I think Ogogo, he can leave a really strong impression on everyone at the end of the night.
Now, for the Ogogo match, something interesting just popped in my head. What if they treat it like they treat like a boxing match, that you can get a surprise punch in the beginning of the match and it just ends right there? Imagine that the match starts, ding, ding, ding. They're locking up. They're moving around. Ogogo clocks him once in the jaw, knocks him out. The match is over.
10 count, match is over. Yeah, why not?
Why not, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a legitimate boxer. Like that, book it like that. You could book it like that. I don't see the problem because that happens all the time. Not all the time, but it happens a lot where you see a phantom punch real quick. He catches him in the right spot, the right time, and he goes down for the count. See it going down. But yeah, I could take it. But that's our predictions for AEW Double or Nothing. Hopefully we're right on most of them, because I think I haven't even kept count or checked it, but I think I'm like maybe a little bit more than half correct on these things. But whatever, nobody's keeping track of it anyways. I appreciate my guys Dan from DWE. Let them know where to find you, what you're doing.
On YouTube, just DWE channel, last channel. I'm going to get everything on there, and like summer's going to be great. I got a lot of football coming up as well, the European Championships, everything, and wrestling. Fans are coming back, so it's going to be a lot of content. It's a lot of fun. We're going to try for everything, and check out everyone else as well. Like the wrestling YouTube scene is nuts at the moment. Everyone's putting out the best possible content. It is really good to see and refreshing to see just constant bangers from everyone. So yeah,
it's real good stuff out there. There's a lot of guys out there, a lot of different channels that are doing really, really good stuff. Got 2 of them right here, DWE and Max. Max, let them know where to find you and what you got in the works.
Yeah, WrestleManiac UK. I'm posting every day at this rate. I've got a sickness. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. Tuesdays especially, we have Wrestle Extra, which is everything Black wrestling. We look at what's going on in the Black wrestling scene across the world with different promotions. Thursday is usually the AEW day where we talk AEW on there. I've got something else in the works which I'm going to speak to you two gentlemen about in a second.
There it is.
And everything else is usually WWE, me complaining or trying to be positive. So yeah, tune in, man.
There you go. Now I want to say one thing. There's Instagram to me is kind of like whatever's like. I think a lot of people just post much like just I don't know stuff that nobody really cares about. But there's two Instagram accounts that entertain me on the regular, and that's West Coast Popcast. I think they're very, very funny in the stuff they do on their Instagram stories. And Max WrestleManiac UK, I think he has a solid Instagram, and the content he puts on his Instagram is really I enjoy it a lot. The stuff he says and everything like that. I try to comment the most I can on his because I enjoy the stuff he puts out there on his Instagram, and West Coast Popcast as well. The two entertaining Instagram accounts, so follow those because Instagram to me is kind of but I appreciate both you guys coming on. Those are our predictions. Make sure you check out my new HBK video just dropped today. Just give it a chance to check it out. I worked really hard. I'm really proud about that one, so check that one out. Check out both these channels. You should probably already do. DWE had his whole crew in the chat earlier. Shout out to those guys.
My boys, my army.
There you go, the DWE army. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.